First of all, give me 1 sec. I put myself in nostalgic mode. I will try not to cry. I share here some of my pictures while being a SANS instructor. I have been facilitating for SANS. I started my first SANS events. I was taking a look yesterday at my LinkedIn profile. Was 2002, so quite time ago. And I have been, this year is my anniversary. It's 10 years teaching for SANS. So I would like to say that for me, teaching for SANS and being part of this amazing community is what I'm who I am because of you, because of the people who every single student that is sitting in class or in any of our events is challenging me to be a better professional, to share. And yeah, I will say that especially during when I'm teaching remotely, I mean it's cool because you are with your family, with your kids. But I was missing a lot, like being here, being close to people. So let's take a beer together later, maybe. Okay, so it's very challenging. We have it's the last talk before the lunch break. So I will try to make it entertainment so that you don't think in your lunch, and we can go together in this journey. So I'm going to talk about something I have been working on. During many years, I have been building, especially many years I was working in DFIR, so I was building mostly forensic tools. And when I landed more in the OSINT community, I was trying to find something I could provide and share. And the last year, I found an interesting project with one of my customers during one of my trainings. I found out that they were highly interested in how consumers were approached, how they were targeted by threat actors. Some of them could be scammers, some of them could be other kind of predators or anything. So they wanted to gather more information. And I was doing mainly in the discovery phase. We were doing social media intelligence, we were doing dorking, but we thought advertisements were a very growing trend, and I'm going to talk about that in the following minutes. So probably, I mean, I have left here a lot of different references for you to read. If you are, before going to bed, you want to read something, you have a lot of URLs here. But I just wanted to mention that you will see here that is in the industry. The many vendors have found out that advertisements are being used to distribute malware, to target individuals. Also, some of them have found that is the best way to approach individuals in order to do social engineering lately. And even for influencing, as you know, we're in an election year worldwide. So influencing people by disinformation, misinformation is something you can do also through advertisements. I had some numbers that I forgot to mention, but I think in the last year, Google blocked around 5 billion malicious ads. So we are, and I think the year before it was 1 point something. So it's completely a growing trend that you should take care of. So in this presentation, I'm going to cover these 4 parts. First of all, giving an overview of advertisements, then talking about the technology behind the ads, and in the last part, I will show a beta tool that is going to be released in the following weeks about to collect and analyze this data that will allow me to talk about some of the use cases you could use this tool for. Okay, so why advertisements are so convenient to approach people? Probably for those who have been in the cybersecurity industry, we were telling all the people that phishing emails, we were doing security awareness to protect people. So now they are concerned of emails, they are concerned of clicking where they shouldn't. And also probably in the last years, also we have been an approach of the threat actors in compromising or approaching the users using instant messaging, using like different platforms, could be Messenger, in Instagram, approaching the people because they started to lose the trust in communications. So they started just to answer to direct messages. But if we keep this aside, I mean, this doing that is not difficult for them, it's cheap, they can do it in a bulk way. But why advertisements? Because advertisements, you have to pay for them. They are not for free. But the good thing is that the users tend to relax with advertisements, because at the end, it's kind of blended in our daily basis. We are watching Netflix, and probably in the future we will see ads on YouTube or in anywhere, and that's showing us that the users are they are not concerned anymore. It's like another thing that is blended around the environment. When you are doing a query in Google search or in Bing, you will see some of the results are sponsored, and sometimes we are just clicking quickly, and we don't find the difference between what's sponsored or what's a result that from a regular website that has been indexed by them. So the people are less aware of this, and even if it's more expensive, they can target people more easily, because when you are doing sometimes phishing or other kind of attacks, you are sometimes doing it bulky, and you don't know if the person is interested in clicking on that link or not. When you are using ads, you know the person is looking for that. So it's like profiling properly. So I'm not going to get you bored about the things, but the more important information here about online ads is user profiling. In many of the cases, when you see these online ads that has been created to infect computers, to target people, they have information that they are targeted to a specific country, to a specific age range, so it's highly convenient. And the places where these online advertisements are everywhere, so it's quite easy for them to reach a user from one way or the other. And we have seen, ads have been there in the past. Nowadays, the technology has brought something different in the past. We see the billboards, we saw things, and maybe they were not interesting for us, but nowadays, you usually open many of the platforms, and if you are sharing part of your data, you will see that it's completely tailored to you. It's like a bubble that you will see the things you like, your Legos, the things, your toys, the kind of things you want to buy are around every place you visit. And in the future, even the problem could be bigger, because now with all the new technologies, it will be related with blending AR, having locations, places, so more challenging things coming. Especially when I was talking about consumer abuse, I created this framework for one of my trainings that I was trying to show the different places where threat actors could influence or attack the consumer. And if you see here in the upper left side, there is a first interaction that is the interest. People, they need to get interested in something, and through social media, through a search engine, and a growing trend is also using influencers. Because I think they follow people, and they sometimes buy or click in the links of the people they follow. And especially in Europe, I have seen that some of the countries, in Europe, we love regulating things all day. When I wake up, I regulate things at home, always. So the thing here is that influencers is a growing trend, and is also sometimes there is not let's say, a control on what they advertise and how. So this promoted content is in the video, is in the picture, and now probably in the future they will need to, let's say, have some metadata tagging what they are sponsoring or what they are talking about to make it legal. So at the end, this is very curious, because we are being targeted by the information we share. Because we are sharing, or let's say I know here we are operational security concerned, mostly of us, but because we investigate, we want to protect ourselves. But when you are when you are with your people nearby, they are not as concerned. They share the data, and at the same time, the same data is being used to target them, because we are at the end the product, but there is a price for everything, right? These techniques that I'm describing today is something that has been properly identified, categorized in different frameworks. Probably if you have been working in CTI, you know about the Mitre attack framework that helps to classify all the different techniques in this framework, in the tactics and techniques being used by threat actors. So you have here that malvertising, acquiring infrastructure for this kind of attacks has been categorized, but also other frameworks. I found out this framework quite recently while doing some investigations about disinformation. There is this framework called Disarm that they also, in this framework, they are trying to define all the TTPs being used for disinformation or foreign manipulation. And here you can see that they are creating or funding advertisements, because some people create the advertisements, but other people are the organizations that are funding that activity. So you here have some examples that you can see on their website. Okay, so jumping a little bit ahead and talking about more the technology side, this is probably let's say the core of the thing. If you never heard of it, I was not aware. I mean, I was doing investigations. I heard of AdTech, but never started to deep dive into the model. The AdTech is basically all the different software systems and technologies that is supporting online advertisements. So at the end, you have in the left side, you have the people who want to advertise something, let's say with a legitimate or malicious intent. And in the right side, you have the user who needs to consume that data. What's in the middle? In the middle, we have brokers that are these organizations that are connecting the generators with the publishers, that the publishers are the people who have the space, who are the front end of what the user is visiting. If they go to Google, they go to Instagram, they go to any website, these publishers, let's say any newspaper, website, they have a space. They have a space in their website. They want to sell because they want to fund their activities. What they usually do is like they create an inventory. It's called an ad inventory. That this data is, as you will see in my references, there is a standard that defines how to publish this data. So the different websites have a text file while they share the inventory and the brokers they work with. So for investigations, you will have this data. And as you see here, we have the DSP and the SSP that at the end are the platforms that are matching the demand and the supplier. But if we go a little bit deeper and then we forget about where the ad comes from and we get closer to the user, we see that the user at the end is using a channel, the search engine. Nowadays, we have a lot of in-app, like in games, a lot of advertisements. So they connect to something, and in order to direct the proper advertisements, they have to receive some things in order to track them properly, like URL tracking, cookies. That probably is the classic example of tracking. But we have the tracking pixels and other technologies or solutions that are helping advertisements to really tailor the ad to the user who is visiting that specific place. And this happens in milliseconds. Every time we connect to a website, the brokers are matching the supply and the demand. And if you have visited, let's say, half an hour ago a website because you want to buy a new T-shirt, probably the next time you visit the New York Post or any other website, you will see that T-shirt in the website because they are connecting this data on the back end. But in the past was, let's say, very aggressive, and now some of the vendors are trying to put some fences. Apple started, probably because Apple was not a big player in the advertisement industry, probably they started to, and their business is protect, one of the, let's say, of the values of the products is protecting the user. They started to block some of these third-party cookies and other kind of things to avoid this tracking. And then other organizations like Google is right now with the Chrome browser applying a plan to, let's say, to do a handover to limit this cross-site tracking that is happening. So it is at the moment happening, and you see here, this is the timeline on the slides. Where are the ads? The ads are everywhere. As you see, they are blended, especially when you go and you look into source code for those who have been doing scrapping probably many of you, it's quite challenging to get the ads because they are obfuscated. The JavaScript code, so you open and they are not easy to read, so you have to use specific technologies to read the content as a user and not reading, let's say, the completely raw source code. And also, at the same time, in my case, I'm visiting as a Spaniard from Barcelona. I'm visiting this website. I will see the ads tailored to myself. So if any other person is visiting the same website, will get different results. And this is the main challenge. How can we track and how can we investigate this properly? So here you have like a list of tools that I found out and referenced by this gentleman here, Craig Silverman. I strongly recommend, I have included here some of his blog posts about, he has been doing different, he's a journalist specialized in different kind of fraud investigations, and he has a deep knowledge in online advertisement. And as he mentions here, I mean, there are many tools to collect data from the browser, from different places, but let's say one of the big things are the AdsLibraries that I'm going to talk in a minute. Is like the treasure. It's a place that is very easy for any analyst to go and to look for data. This was the first data source I was using for the investigations I was doing for this specific customer I told you, that they told me, hey, we have consumers that they go to Instagram, they go to Facebook, and they are being targeted. So I visited this AdsLibrary from Meta that is covering all the different platforms from Meta. And this is basically a database with all the different information from the ads. But not only the information that the users see, but also some information, administrative information that only the provider knows, like the impact of the ads, like the audience it was targeted to, because they have been forced. As I was talking here in EU, I mean, every region in the world has different things. You know, I love US for many things, but in Europe, we are very strong with regulations. And one of the things I think was good because we're forcing the platforms to collect and share this data for transparency. And I think we have to work in this direction, of course, to make this information available for us, for them to properly react to this threat, but also for us to investigate properly on a daily basis. Because this is being abused. I mean, advertisements are for human trafficking, there are many things, as I will mention later. So I highly recommend you to go to this website and just take a look to the interface, and you will see here how many ads they have. I took this screenshot yesterday, 60 million ads. And the good thing about these repositories is that the ad is not there only when the campaign is active. When the campaign is not, or the ad is not active anymore, they have to preserve this data during a period of time. If the ad is related with, let's say, with political interest, they have to keep it for more time. I think almost 7 years, I think. So you will be able to investigate trends or to correlate past or with current campaigns. And one of the good things about all the different areas of knowledge is finding a group of people who investigate the same as you. In the online advertisement, I find out this community. I'm not part of it, so I cannot talk on behalf of them. But I find out that, as you see here, it's including many of the world most influential brands, agencies, and they are fighting against the abuse of digital advertisements. So probably they will become an ISAC, probably, and they will share amongst the members intelligence about these groups. Okay, so let's then move a little bit further and talk about the tool that I named it toADS. I found it was quite appropriate for the targets, and okay. Yeah, I was there in bed laying out, and I don't know. Usually, the good things came to your mind when you are trying to sleep, right? It's like, okay, now the children are sleeping, then you are relaxed, and then something comes, and then you have to open your computer, type it, because if not, you will forget. But anyway. So what I wanted to do with this tool is Of course, I can go to the Meta Ads library. I can go and try to grab with some scripts or some tools, some of the advertisements that are available from different websites. But at the end, it will be like separate tools. I have to run them separately. So I wanted to find a way to collect this data and centralize it to make it available for the analyst. So this tool pretends to help to be a framework to this kind of investigations, helping in the collection, preservation, analysis, and also dissemination. That it probably is one of the big problems I see with the security tools or the investigative tools, that sometimes you have something, and then when you want to share it, then you have to create a PDF, then you have to do something, and humans cannot consume that quickly. Well, nowadays we have seen Chris talking about AI, and now AI can consume things for us, but I think anyway, trying to collect the data in a way that can be disseminated quickly, I think it's highly convenient. In CTI, when I was doing investigations in previous employers, I was an incident responder. Having the right information on time was critical. Disseminating intelligence from a threat group that was having some campaigns ongoing. I think for this kind of things, advertisements, probably in the future, having this real-time data will be highly necessary. So every time you start a new project, here I want to talk a little bit also about methodology. Everyone has you can have your own methodology. That's the one I follow. So it could be better or worse for anyone. But when I start a new project, I don't want to start big. So usually I start with a small prototype and say, okay, let's see if it works. Because maybe if it doesn't work or I'm wrong, maybe I should not invest like 2 weeks or 3 weeks of my life in something that will never work. So so basically, I wanted to find something I could build in a few days, test it, and verify if it works. And especially if someone coded something already, don't reinvent the wheel. Takes part of the code and customize it for your goal. So here, as you will see, basically I made a command line tool, not very fancy. I mean, like well, depends if you like command line. You're a command line geek, probably you prefer that than a web interface. But at the end, you have a launcher, and I wanted to separate the launching tool from the collector, because I thought collector should be something that in the future will be a separate module. So I defined it like this high-level thing, and I decided to start with Meta because I thought it was interesting, but during my process, I also found out that Microsoft had also an AdsLibrary was very easy to query. And you will see now in a demo, I use I will show the Bing one, I mean the Microsoft one, but both of them work in a similar way. The good thing about the Meta Ads library is that the Facebook team shared in GitHub some scripts already, some libraries in Python that I could use as a starting point. So just downloaded this repository, I get a token code from them to use the tool, and then I can test it. So that's the 3 steps you usually need to do to query these platforms. One of them is identify yourself. Nowadays, every platform you query, most of them you have to identify. Could be a fake account, but anyway, you have to do it in some way. And then create an account as a developer, because you are not going to use, let's say, the standard interface. You need to query an API. And then you need to generate a token. And that's one of the challenging things about many projects, that this token can change, expires. So you need the tools to re-authenticate with some predefined password to make sure you have the latest code, the latest token to authenticate properly to the platform. So here, let me click, and I think it will work. So this is a very quick demo. This is the launcher, as you have on the right side, and a library. I built a library with all the functions I needed. So here in the command line, you will see like launching the tool with the help. So basically, you need an API key, keywords to search, time range, type, country, the different fields that the AdsLibraries support, most of them. So, and here I click with one example I'm going to show later. That is a keyword, a very funny keyword in Spanish called perico. And I was using to find out ads with that keyword. So, and it worked. So the prototype worked. So I wanted to get bigger and then and define the complete tool. So here, I define an architecture that is basically to have not only a collector, but having a vault to preserve the data, because then you can have different collectors. Maybe some people are only collecting, but then you are aggregating in a centralized vault in the future. Also separate what is the collection from libraries from live data that will be happening with websites, and also trying to have other modules to connect, to integrate these platforms I call tips or ISACs to disseminate information. And in the analyst side, as humans, we are using the browser, but I wanted also to have other tools to be able to query that data. I was using Maltigo because I work for them, and I thought it was a cool use case to show. So connecting my Maltigo client to visualize the data, and you will see that in a few minutes. So this is my prototype. Basically, I'm going to show in a minute. So you have the Maltigo, it connects to an API, and then I have the collector and the vault, and I have a front end that is still not completed. I'm not a good front-end developer. Even with ChatGPT, I was not able to do it in a reasonable amount of time, but probably in a few weeks I will have something. So I will show the use case with Maltigo in a moment. Talking about the methodology, just wanted to show here that the pipeline. My pipeline is using a developer tool, but with the help of ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot. So I found out that using the GitHub Copilot was helping me to code quicker and quicker, especially when the project was growing with more files. It was anticipating my code very quickly, just completing with the tab. Let's say 80–90% of some of the variable names or everything was auto-completed for me. So it was very easy to do. And then all this code I was building was deployed in my computer with different modules. And then I was using to test the browser, Jupyter Notebook, that is, for those who probably you have heard of it, it's like a Python way to, like an editor. You can query Python data easily and play with the data in that notebook, Postman, and other tools. So the important thing here to mention is that there is a data model. I don't go into the details, but the thing is that I find out that Meta, Microsoft, all the providers have different structures in the data. So what I don't want it to merge all the data in the same table or in the same source, because I thought it was important to preserve the original details of the ads and not deciding myself what's important and what's not important for the analyst, and then having a meta table, or let's say a way to map all the ads independently if they are from Meta, from Microsoft, TikTok, or any platform. So here I'm going to play quickly. This is the vault component. So basically, I'm clicking here to launch the vault. Okay, so now it's working, and you will see now I go to the browser. So basically, it's just returning JSON results. So here, I'm just going to search quickly here a keyword in my collection. So hello, nothing. But if I use the other word from what I have collected, was Perico, you will see that I have all the information I collected from those ads here. Like the advertiser. So I was using a very simple SQLite database because it was a prototype, but of course you can connect any kind of database. If you want to play more with it, you can use Postman or other tools that you can query the API in a more rich way. So I connected, as I told you, with Maltigo. I'm in the process to connecting to a MISP, that is a platform that allows to disseminate threat intelligence data. So let's view a quick investigation I did. The same data set you have seen. So I'm going to drop a phrase entity. Here, I'm going to use the same keyword I was mentioned, the Perico, and then I click in a transform to go from a phrase to advertisements. You will see that I get all the different ads. I'm grouping them in a collection to see them easier, and I can filter out based on a keyword, like a hotel, whatever. And here I open all the entities, and then I want to extract some of the details, like the advertisers, URLs, all the data that could be relevant for the investigator. So here you see the data is there. the different data in the advertisement. So here I click in expand information. So I was extracting the title of the ad, the URLs, and extracting the domains also, and the advertiser. So because I wanted to know a little bit of the company. So here, if I forget about about my tool, you can continue the investigation like with Open Corporates, like as a data source to investigate that company, that advertiser. So I can see here, okay, there is a company that put that advertisement. So maybe I want to know more of who's behind that company. This example is, I'm not targeting someone like it's malicious. It's an example of a company posting something. But to show you the process, I can extract addresses or information from Google Maps or from this Open Corporates database to see more about the company. But then I can also conduct with the URLs that the users will be clicking. Sometimes could be even phone numbers. In this case, I can investigate who is registering information from the domain to see, or reputational information to see if this website has been tagged as malicious by reputation websites. You see why it's marked as green, because it's not considered malicious at the moment. And you see here that it extracted registration data and can extract, for instance, the email. In this case, it's not protected. I can see the email of the individual who registered that domain. So as you see here, I conducted an investigation with a small data set, but imagine doing that with a bigger data set. You have many ads with different keywords. You try to correlate and find common things. Okay, so covering quickly some of the common use cases you can use this methodology or this tool for. We have 3 ones: malvertising, fraud, scams, and political influence. So I will cover them quickly just to show some examples, some screenshots I took from investigations that have been shared already by some vendors or from some analysts. So about malvertising, this is an example that was shared by, I think it was a vendor called TrustWave, that is basically an advertisement. Here you see the screenshot of in the Meta AdsLibrary. I put it because it's fancier, because I don't have a web frontend yet, but you see here, this is the ad. We are hiring. And you see the advertisers is called something called Pink Women's Magazine. It's very common that the threat actors hack, compromise some accounts in Facebook or in other platforms to buy the ads. So they are using the identity of someone else. And then if you extract something like here, they have a URL in the posting, then you can use other infrastructure or malware-related investigations like VirusTotal, you have Shodan, or other things to get more data and understand what's the threat. What will happen to these users when they click on the link, when they click on that website. The second one is disinformation or political influence, and this is a big topic this year. I'm not an expert in the topic, so if someone probably in the room knows better than me can give me more best examples of this. I just pick up a quick example. I was searching for a specific country like Nicaragua that they had some elections also, and I put the name of the president. In this case is Ortega. So I was extracting information, and basically saw that there was in the different results, there was one ad that was sponsored or paid by the embassy of China in Nicaragua. And you can see the amount of money, and you can say, if you go to the URL and do some analysis, you will find out that this website, this El 19, is basically, you see links connected to common Chinese platforms. So you will see some connections if you do the infrastructure part of it. And last but not least, scams or fraud. I pick up one very easy: crypto. Crypto scams are everywhere. So you could have 4 lives to investigate all the crypto scams that are nowadays. And here I just took one of them that I found this one just doing some search about crypto investment, trade nexus. That is also in the library. And here you will see that there is an email linked to this called outlook.com that we could investigate. We have also a location that is in Malaysia, so we can see. And in this location, using the Google Maps, you will see there is a restaurant. So I don't know, probably it could be on the top of the restaurant, but you see it's a residential area, probably not the place to have a business. And that's it. And last but not least, I wanted to point out something that happened was in the media in Spain, that we had this lady called, well, I call this lady because maybe it's AI, I don't know. Could be just technology. Emily Valentina was on the news because everyone visiting, you know when the conflict with Israel happened, you were browsing Twitter or any platform, and you had always Emily Valentina in the middle of everywhere. Not myself, many people. And this is because that person was paying for ads. Now she has 15K followers, and she's not advertising anything, any product. So it's kind of, I thought it could be a romance scammer. Probably ads could be one of the techniques, one of the goals or techniques to use for romance scams in the future. But it's curious, and still is something has not been solved, so someone needs a challenge. You have something here. And that's it. I'm run out of time. Just wanted to mention that this is I have some next steps. I want to disseminate this and include this tool when it's completely clean and usable by humans in some distros like Kali or others, so that you can use it. But of course, I would like to hear more about your use cases and the things you want this kind of tool for. If anyone wants to join me, of course, always more hands and more brains are welcome, always. So that will be everything from my side.